Saludos amigos de Breaking News. Bien, creo que estamos en un episodio más, un capítulo más. Que tal los que Ramón Luis, estoy con Enrique Fernández, Arturo Ferrer,
aquí estamos.
Joey Maldonado de Craft Beer Puerto Rico. ¿Cómo está Joey?
Estamos bien, estamos vivos,
estamos gozando.
Bien, salud.
Buenas noches a todos.
Estamos gozando. Dame paciencia, señor. Señor Jesucristo, dame paciencia, Señor Jesucristo.
Vamos a explicarle a los viewers para que sepan lo que está pasando. Estamos bregando ahora mismo con un issue de timing, de horario, diferencias en ¿cómo se llama esto? En time zones. Hopefully los invitados se pueden conectar en los próximos minutos. Pero vamos a meterle, empezamos con lo que teníamos planificado en lo que se conectan.
Ya mismo llegan por ahí, ya mismo llegan como si fuera una pasarela moderando. Yo recibimos con los brazos abiertos como somos nosotros. Sí, pues hoy vamos, hoy pues el episodio de hoy vamos a hablar de la cervecería Boulevard, en particular de la serie de ellos de barril. Cervezas añejadas en barril. Pero antes de comenzar con esa cerveza, pues vamos a hablar un poquito de lo que es Boulevard. Boulevard fue
la historia.
Un poquito de la historia, pero un resumen de 2 segundos. Toma la tuya. Friendo y comiendo. Fue una cerveza fundada en el año 1989 por John McDonald. No tiene que ver nada con los McDonald's. Pues, otro McDonald's más. Que dijo, pues vamos a hacer una cervecería en Kansas City, Missouri. Ahí es que viene la cervecería Boulevard. Él pues, compró un equipo en Bélgica, se lo trajo para los Estados Unidos y ahí comenzó a hacer cerveza en Kansas City, Missouri. ¿Algo más, Joey, que quieras añadir de la cervecería Boulevard o alguno de los compañeros aquí?
Bueno, una de las más famosas de ellos es de las primeras que ellos sacaron fue la Pale Ale. Y después sacaron la Wheat.
Sí, la primera beer ever que hicieron fue la Pale Ale. Sí.
Y la segunda bien famosa que sacaron, que pegó, fue la Wheat Ale.
La Unfiltered Wheat.
Que eso viene aquí a cada rato.
Y tengo entendido que la Unfiltered Wheat es la cerveza de más venta en el Midwest, en los Estados Unidos. Sí. Que pues no está fácil lograr eso, o sea, es que Boulevard en general, desde que comenzaron, todo lo que hacen es top notch, hacen cervezas de bien alta calidad, ellos tratan de hacer cervezas más hacia lo balanceado. Tienen, ¿verdad? Hoy en día tienen cosas más extremas, como algunas de las que vamos a probar hoy en día, pero en general, si tú pruebas sus beers, como que no se van súper exageradamente con un sabor sobre lo demás, tratan de siempre mantener pruebas de Colin, tú pruebas todas estas beers bien famosas.
No tan exóticos.
Exacto, son exóticos porque tienen cosas como
exacto.
Esto, por ejemplo. Pero que tú sabes, tienden a ser beers bien pensadas, como que todos los niveles de sabores en un balance chévere.
Y sobre
ahora mismo vale.
Yo iba a decir
también, ¿verdad? Hablando un poquito, ¿verdad? Le gusta hacer mucho lo que tiene que ser las colaboraciones con diferentes cervecerías. Sí. Así que eso es algo que podemos hablar ahorita un poquito.
Claro. Otra cosa importante de Boulevard, que hace poco en el Great American Beer Festival ganaron primer lugar con la Tan 7, en lo que es el Belgian American Saison. Saison, ¿cómo se dice
Saison. Mira, una de las cosas que también Boulevard es de la compañía matriz Duvel de Estados Unidos, que tiene que ver mucho que ver también con la cuestión tú sabes, la cuestión esa Saison que le están metiendo.
¿Cómo se dice?
Saison.
Hace poco hicieron una alianza Duvel Murgat, básicamente se unió con lo que es Boulevard y también con lo que es Omegan, que es otra cerveza top notch. Aquí probablemente hay varios fans de Omegan. Y pues eso también les ha ayudado mucho, yo creo, en el sentido de la distribución. Tienen un poquito más, tienen partners alrededor del mundo que los ayudan a mover sus beers más frescas, tenerlas, tú sabes, más disponibilidad y inventar cosas cool también con colaboraciones, etcétera.
Una de las más famosas que a la gente le gusta aquí es la Colin Double IPA. Esa gente, todo el mundo la pide, todo el mundo es loco con esa beer, de verdad. Mira para allá.
Botella, el mejor abre botella que tengo ahí, yo creo.
Adelantando, ¿verdad? De Colin, pues el año que viene, noticias. Vienen en lata, 16 onzas, bien brutal, de verdad. Nice. Así que.
De latita, lata grande.
De lata grande.
Eso es una excelente beer para poner en ese tipo de lata. Y probablemente conociendo a Boulevard, la lata sabe brutal. Ya me la estoy imaginando.
Sí. Yo no he probado ninguna que sea.
Mientras ustedes hablan, la busco para que la postee.
Búscala.
Busca por ahí.
Otra de las de Boulevard está la Tart Tail Ale.
La cual tú dices
Tart Tail Ale. Hace tiempo no la veo. Ese tiempo que no la veo. Ese tiempo que no llega, ¿verdad, Kike?
Tú dices la Dark Truth.
La Dark Truth, sí, esa es la Stout.
Sí, porque esa también yo creo que la han hecho Barrel Aged. Que va a ser hoy lo más que vamos a tocar, ¿verdad? Son el tema de las cervezas Barrel Aged de ellos. Pero en general, mano, hay par de anuncios ahí en general que no todo es Barrel Aged, so eso va a estar cool.
Sí, mira, para que esté, mira.
Si les interesa.
Saludos.
Delia.
Mira, mi camisa de Soda Stereo, estoy bien pompeado para que esta semana sale en Netflix, sale lo de rock en español, o sea, que son fanáticos de rock en español en particular, sale un...
Estás viejo ya porque te gusta.
Yo estoy viejo, pues, estoy loco que llegue ya el día de que lo van a release.
Yo tengo t-shirt nueva, t-shirt nueva.
Me gusta, Englishman.
Englishman en Puerto Rico.
Me gusta. Vamos con la primera.
Empezamos a meterle.
Ya.
Para mojarnos los labios en lo que llegan los invitados.
Ya estoy cansado de estar comiendo.
Yo saqué la Stout, pero empezar con la Porter, ¿verdad?
Sí, exacto.
Tiene más sentido.
Saqué la que no era, yo también, por copiarme.
Espérate.
Ariel, yo creo que te lo envié ahí.
Espérate. Ok.
Esta cerveza es la Bourbon Barrel de ellos, la Imperial Porter.
Imperial Porter.
Tiene 12.3% de alcohol, como le gusta a Arturo. IBU tiene 26 de amargura. Y vamos a abrirla. Vamos a ver cómo suena, vamos a ver. María, como sonó.
Las cervezas llegaron a Puerto Rico en este pack que está aquí.
Exactamente.
Que es algo que no pasa mucho, ¿verdad? Esto está bien nítido porque fueron unos 6-packs que venían 3 y 3. En algunos lugares los venden, ¿verdad? Al detal. En la esquinita, por lo menos, nosotros las hemos vendido. Si las quieres al detal, las puedes comprar al detal. Pero está nítido que un brewery comercial, ¿verdad? Con beers de este calibre barrel age, que es algo que usualmente uno tiene que comprar una botella grande de tamaño vino, o tienes que comprar las botellitas individuales, pues te dan la opción de comprar un 6-pack, trae 3 de la Porter, 3 de la Stout.
Y el mismo 6-pack te da una breve descripción del producto, ¿verdad? Para que tenga cualquier duda.
Esto huele a candied cherries.
Sí, huele a vino, mano. Es como que algo...
No sé si hay gente en el chat que hayan conseguido las beers para catar hoy y las quieren ir abriendo también, o si ya se las están tomando, nos dejan saber qué les piensan.
Nos digan que ustedes perciben en aroma.
Dulce, tiene burnt sugar ahí bien fuerte. Sí. Con burnt sugar bien fuerte. Tiene la madera que da ese toquecito como que smoky.
Sí, es smoky. Yo siento como dije, cherry ahorita.
Sí, cherry.
Lo acabo de leer ahora y es verdad que me dio ese, como los chocolatitos estos cubiertos, los cherries cubiertos en chocolate.
Sí.
Exacto.
Como el cordialcito de cordial.
A pasa también, es como un poquito a
Pasa, exacto, prunes, ciruela, pasa.
Dark fruits, como dicen, dark fruits.
Mira.
Rey, tienes razón, porque estas beers son tan potentes hoy.
Sí, hoy sí que estamos pata abajo.
Y es bastante, es color petróleo.
Ok. ¿Cuál es la diferencia? Quique, ¿qué es lo que hace la diferencia de la Porter de la Stouts? Porque es que tú ves esto y la gente va a decir, eso parece un Stout.
En realidad, eso lo habíamos discutido en otro episodio, en general, al principio, todas las cervezas, todas las Stouts eran Porters.
Exacto.
Lo que hacían era llamarle Stout Porter a las Porters que eran más fuertes. Aparentemente fue un término que pegó, la gente como que le gustaba más el nombre en cuanto a marketing. Las Stout Porters vendían más. Y hoy en día casi que se ven, casi no se ven tantas Porters comercialmente como lo que son Stout. Yo creo que hoy en día es más cuestión de lo que sea que el Brewery decida ponerle a su
nombre. De nombre, sí, básicamente.
En el caso de esto, como tú dices, como es o sea, sí es un Imperial Porter, pero al hacerle lo del bourbon y tantas cosas, mano, esto tiene un cuerpo brutal, tiene un aroma.
Sí, el aroma está espectacular. Mira, José Sánchez tiene una pregunta. Buenas. La copita, ¿dónde se consigue? Quique, ¿dónde se consigue la copita?
La copita se conseguía hace poco, pues en la esquinita. Digo, hace poco yo, hace par de meses, pero ya estamos sin copitas más. Llegaron como alrededor de 50 copas y las vendimos como la primera semana. Yo creo que se fueron bien rápido. So, vamos a ver si más adelante tiramos otro batch. No este mismo, pero
no este eco, pero otro.
Estamos pensando en otras opciones, de verdad, vasitos para el podcast.
Sí. Otro diseño también.
Estaremos anunciando.
Algo de colección.
Sí, ahora voy a probarla. No la probo. Vamos a probarla ahora, perdón.
Sí, yo la probé ya.
Pero ustedes se adelantaron. Espérate.
Mira, literalmente sabe a lo que tú dijiste. A los chocolate cherries, eso.
Sí. Sí, pero es como un día tiene el plum, tiene la madera.
Tiene el burnt sugar, se le siente el alcohol, pero no tanto.
Yo creo que es demasiado, Eduardo.
Al final siento como una nota como chocolate también un poquito.
Sí, yo sentí el chocolate al final también.
Ese cuerpo también.
Creo que el señor director tiene lo de lo que estábamos hablando de Colin. Si quiere escuchar ahí.
Señor director.
Qué lindo.
Uf.
Nice.
No te no, pega.
A mí me encanta siempre el arte gráfico de ellos, siempre me ha gustado.
El show.
Va a venir en 4-packs de 16 onzas.
Brutal. Y la cajita está súper nítida.
Y la torre, ¿verdad? Que es el trademark de ellos.
El trademark, sí, la chimenea.
Yep.
Me gusta.
Eso viene, el Brewery básicamente lo hicieron, lo crearon en el, se llama, se me olvida el nombre exacto, pero es un Boulevard que está allí mismo en Kansas City, Missouri, bastante central, y era una planta antigua.
Una planta antigua, sí, de 1800.
Tenía un smokestack de esos super cool de ladrillo, que todavía está allí.
De ahí que sale, ¿verdad? De ahí que sale la serie Smokestack. También.
Exacto, el Smokestack. Que tiene varios, incluyendo la Tank 7, la Colin.
La Tank 7, la Colin IPA también la tienen, sí.
Muchas de sus beers más especiales, no todas, ellos tienen diferentes, porque esta por ejemplo es Tasting Room Series.
Sí.
Tienen las Limited, tienen la Barrel Age, tienen
otra cosa importante, Quique, es que ya a mí me pasó y te lo dije. Yo sé que está esta y bien está la amarilla. Yo pensaba que eran las que anteriormente habían llegado. Pero tú me corriste y me dijiste, no son las mismas, son otras. Si voy a hablar de eso, cuáles fueron las que llegaron primero y cuáles son estas.
Sí, básicamente yo pensé lo mismo que tú también.
¿Qué dice el público? How you doing, Adam?
I'm doing great. How are you guys? I'm sorry, Kansas City time is a little different here.
Don't worry. You are with us right now.
Too many of these. Yeah.
At least we got some good beer.
We're tasting this one right now. I'm talking about
with the porter.
And you're all sitting. Okay, I was gonna say if you were standing, I'd be concerned, but yeah.
We were just talking about the mix pack. Jorge was asking last year's 6-pack was the labels look almost the same, but they're two different beers this year, right?
Right. Yeah. Every year, the plan is every year to change. We want to change a different variety and give. So Ryan McNeve, our barrel wrangler, he likes to play around, and we have like 5,000 whiskey barrels that we're sitting on, and it's insane. It smells great. It looks great. Most of it tastes pretty good too. So he likes to play around, and this mix pack gives us an opportunity for him to do some really wild stuff. And then, we can put that out for you guys to try around when the weather starts to get cool. Well, weather starts to get cool here. That's when we tend to think of these big barrel aged beers. But yeah, so it's exciting, and then we get to drink them, and it's it works for everybody.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So you have 6,000 casks.
Almost, yeah. It's in the neighborhood. At any given time, we've got between 5,000 and 6,000 in our barrel house, and that makes up. So we've got rye whiskey barrels, bourbon whiskey barrels. We've got wine barrels. We've got, we have like amphoras, clay amphoras. We've got puncheons. We've got fooders. Yeah, it spans the variety. Lots of wood.
Nice.
Adam, while we're waiting for Ryan, I think he can probably give us a deeper understanding into the barrel aged stuff. But since you're here, can you give us a little history background behind the brewery?
Yeah, sure. So Boulevard, we just celebrated our 31st anniversary back in November. Our founder, John McDonald, he grew up in Kansas, and he grew up with, in the like the 60s and 70s, and there was only one or two types of beers that were available in the market at the time. But in the early 80s, he had an opportunity to travel to Europe with his wife. And while he was there, his wife was taking in the sights and the sounds of Paris via museums, right? And John has ADD, so he was only good for about 30 minutes of that museum tour, and he got thirsty. So he walks outside the museum and goes across the street to this Belgian beer bar called La Gouze. And the bartender hands him a menu, and he thinks it's food, but rightly so, because in the early 80s in the US, there was no such thing as a beer menu, right? But he opens it up, and he had his mind blown because it was just page after page after page of like English style brewers and German beers and Belgian beers. So he makes it his mission. The 2 weeks he's there, he's going to conquer that menu.
Wow.
Front to back. Yeah. The details are real blurry halfway through that menu, but he managed to get through it all. And when he came back to the States, he was really sad because he couldn't find these big barrel aged beers that he liked. So he's an entrepreneur. So he set out to make some beer on his own. The beer he made was, it was free for his friends. So I'm sure they said it was good. But they encouraged him to keep trying, and he did, and eventually got to a point where they're like, we want to drink this beer when we go out and have barbecue in Kansas City. If you guys ever come to KC, I'm going to blow your minds with some barbecue. Please come anytime. And so he didn't expect to sell that much. He was just going to sell to the people that live around the brewery. And he underestimated how thirsty Kansas City was, and we ended up growing. We surpassed his expectations in the first few years. We started sending beer outside of Kansas City, and people were really fond of it, and we've been growing ever since. In '99, he realized that he was really good at running a brewery, but he needed someone with some expertise. So he outsourced the brewmaster, and we imported Stephen from Belgium, and he has been running the show ever since. So he has expertise out the yin yang, a lot of these great beers, and then he was able to bring really talented people like that gentleman there, Ryan McNeve, who really knows his wood, so to speak. And we've been rocking and rolling ever since. And a few years ago, the Midwest isn't really known for IPAs. We're kind of a versatile brewery here. We do a lot of things, and we do them well. But we don't have access to some of the great hop varieties that some of the breweries do on the West Coast. Mm-hmm. And Pals challenged people like Ryan and a couple other breweries to really get creative with some hops and make some IPAs that we would just serve in the beer hall. And they did. And we pulled one of those beers that people loved. And right now it's our number 3 volume beer, and that's Space Camper. And that Space Camper is my jam, and I'm really hoping that you guys have had an opportunity to really sink your teeth into that beer, because it's a screamer for us. But
Definitely.
So that brings us up to today, and I see Ryan there. I'm sure you guys have loads of barrel age questions. So
yep.
Salud, Ryan.
How you doing, Ryan? Welcome.
What's up, guys? Sorry I'm late.
Don't worry.
You're Puerto Rican. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's right. You're in Puerto Rican time. Don't worry. Don't worry about that.
No worries. Thank you for taking the time to be here, both of you guys.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
So we started out with the Imperial Porter. I don't know if you guys have these beers there, or if you're gonna have something else, but
Yeah.
awesome. We were just talking. Jorge said the beer has an amazing like cherry cordial aroma to it. Like it's like a chocolate. It's got a bunch of things going on, but the cherry really like sticking out, and it's delicious.
Yeah, the yeast that we use is kind of fruity for both these beers. We do a Scottish strain a lot of times, and then if we want more chocolate, we'll use a neutral strain. But for these two particular beers, we went with our Scottish yeast strain. This beer originally came out of the porter. We did like a Vietnamese coffee porter 2 years ago, and we really liked that base beer, so we brewed more of it at the same time and aged it for this particular release. So this is a pretty thick porter. I think it's 12.5% alcohol, and I think it's actually like a 13 Play-Doh, so it's a pretty heavy finished beer. It's really thick. You get a lot of those deep, viscous notes like, chocolate covered cherries.
Yep.
And we aged this beer in Heaven Hill and Willet bourbon barrels. So
very good.
Awesome. So how do you guys usually go about deciding, like, how does the barrel aging at Boulevard work? Do you make beer specifically just to barrel age them, or is it usually that way where you start out with a beer you already made and you think, oh, this would pair perfect with some barreler?
It's actually getting kind of tough because we're coming out with like a barrel age release every 2 to 3 weeks, I think. So
it's not a bad problem to have.
Kind of running out of ideas, but me and Steven, our brewmaster, we have a great working relationship, and we're always like trying beers from all over the country and sometimes world, and coming up with weird, unique ideas for barrel aging. Sometimes we just say, hey, I'll have some treat from some pastry place to be like, hey, let's make a barrel aged beer that tastes like that. Or, Steven has an idea about something and we change the yeast strain up. So sometimes the beers just kind of come out of nowhere. So with no real plans.
Are you guys brewing all of these beers on your main brew house, or is it a smaller?
We do both. We just released a Imperial Stout that we did with Prairie Artisan Ales. We did a double barrel aged.
I think we sent you guys one of those, didn't we?
This one?
Yep.
Yeah.
We got lucky. We got a few of these.
There you go. Yeah, and that's a brewery only release. Only the people here in Kansas City have that beer.
Oh.
Then you know how it is.
You appreciate it.
We appreciate it.
Thank you very much for sending us this beauty.
You guys enjoy it.
Yeah,
but something like that we'll brew on our really small system. And for that beer, we did on our small system because we did a 24-hour boil. We boiled it overnight to get a lot more intense chocolate flavors. The isomerization from the heat. But we also do big beers on our big brew house. We have a 150 barrel brew house and a 30 barrel brew house. So
your small one is 30 barrels.
Yeah. We're kind of a larger brewery, so good and bad problems come with both of those.
It was the only brew house we had for about 20 some years. So that's everything that we made from 89 to the mid 2000s came out of that 35 barrel system. Wow. And while it is, it's pretty modest for what we would call a pilot system now, but in the 2000s, we were brewing 100,000 barrels of beer on that system, which means it didn't stop ever. And people like Ryan couldn't sleep. We were real cracking the whip and making them crank out our wheat beer and our pale ale. So it's been a workhorse. And the brew house itself is about 100 years old. So it's wild.
Yeah, you guys managed to grow a whole lot with that 30 barrel.
Yeah,
from 89 to mid 2000 is
it's insane. I mean, we, you know, in like 2007, I think is when we broke ground, or when we started brewing on our larger production brew house now, which is 150 barrels. So it's 4.5 times the size of our original brew house. But that allowed us to meet the demand for our year-round beers like unfiltered wheat and pale ale, and then gave the brewers some time off and the flexibility and freedom to make these really fun brews. Damn, someone's got a motorcycle in their house.
Whoa!
Yeah, it's in my house. It's in my house.
pretty close.
Yeah.
So, which was the first barrel aged beer from Boulevard?
So I think so. The first barrel aged beer that we did would have been in around 2007. So that would have been Rye on Rye, and that was and we're still making that today. It's wildly popular. It was kind of a collaboration with Templeton Rye Distillery out of Iowa. I think our brewmaster and their head distiller had beer and whiskey together one night, and then traded some resources, and we got some barrels, and so we made a really small batch out of it, and it took off. And at the time, it was pretty aggressive. In 2007, people weren't really drinking these big, high ABV, really rich, complex beers. And I don't think at that point, when we had 4 or 5 rye whiskey barrels, that we would have thought we would grow to the size of the barrel house that Ryan has to manage today. No one would have dreamt that back then.
That beer, Ryan Rye, I just give the sample of one of my friends that only drinks whiskey, and he's like, I don't like beer very much, Bill. And I said to him, you have to try this one, and he tried the beer, and it blew his mind. He's like, oh wow. How the beer tastes like this, man? You're talking about Boulevard, you know. It's Boulevard. It's a very nice. It's like drinking literally whiskey.
Yeah. And another one that we brought here to the island is the Manhattan one. You know, so
sure, yeah,
man, that's crazy.
Yeah,
good beers around.
Ryan, Adam talked a little bit about the amount of barrels or casks that you guys have on hand, but out of those, I think you said somewhere around 5,000 to 6,000 at any time. Yeah. Out of those, like, how is it divided? Like, are they pretty much the most of them bourbon, or?
A majority of them are bourbon barrels. We have everything from rye, tequila, rum. We always have small projects going on, but I would say at least 80% to 70% are generally bourbon, and then rye is the second most, and then kind of small projects. We'll get stuff in that like really small amounts, like cognac, and we got in Madeira. We get in port barrels a lot. Just a lot of little stuff, but yeah, the majority is bourbon, because that's kind of our 2 biggest releases. We do a Belgian quad aged in bourbon barrels, and we do our regular Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels. Nice. We release we do a run about every month, so that's the majority of our stock. So, and we do stuff that's like 400 liquid barrel runs, and then we'll do stuff that's 4 liquid barrel runs. So sometimes it's kind of a challenge to make stuff for a lot of different variety of sizes. So, but
that was another one of the things I had in my mind. Like, how many times you guys use the same barrels?
Just one time.
Just one time.
One time.
Yeah, because we pull out. Yeah, we want to pull out all the whiskey flavor and all the tannins, and then basically once you pull that all out, the wood's kind of neutral. So. We used to blend those back into our sour program, but we bought a bunch of oak fooders, so we don't do that as much anymore. But every now and then we'll transfer a beer barrel over to the sour facility for that. But yeah, all the clean barrels just one time for aging. So
you're mostly focused on the regular barrel aged beers, right? Not the sour ones.
No, I do both.
You do both? Oh wow.
Yeah. Nice. So busy job, yeah. Drinking, so
One of the last ones we tried, we even did an episode on it with
Sí, la de Lolita.
damn it.
The wine.
My mind is
Yeah, too many of them.
The wine vintage stock.
Vintage stock.
With
vintage stock. Yeah.
The sommelier.
La sommelier.
So we did an episode with a local sommelier, and that beer is amazing. It's just it's a really intense winey thing, but mixed in with the saison flow, it was really, really good.
Yeah, I think it's the basics of the Ryan Rye. It's like for whiskey drinkers. That one was for wine drinkers. You know, the people that don't like beers, they drink that beer and they like. It's like the same thing. Oh, how they made this thing? You know,
whiskey on a beer.
Wine and beer.
Yeah.
I see that question there. It says that what would be perfect food pairing for this beer? So, I mean, it depends. Like a lot of the barrel-aged beers, you're looking at a lot of, like Ryan said earlier, lots of chocolate, right? Mm-hmm. Lots of chocolate and lots of coffee. So approach it the same way you would with a really good cup of coffee, I think. Like sometimes people say it's a chocolate-flavored beer. Maybe I need to have chocolate with it. And it's going to wash out all those flavors of both whatever you're eating and you're drinking. So you want to look at something that's, sometimes pretty simple, like just plain cheesecake. I think with these big barrel-aged beers are great. They're rich, and the beer can kind of cut through the richness of that. Shortbread is another really good thing to have with these big barrel-aged beers. Fruit, like strawberries and berries, I think are really nice with them as well. So I mean, it's these, but also like lomo saltado is a really good dish to go with these. Like a mole sauce, you could rock a mole with some of these. It's insane. So they're pretty versatile. I just wouldn't match flavor for flavor. I wouldn't match, like if it has like coffee elements or vanilla or chocolate, I wouldn't try and do those same flavors with it.
That's right.
So what is Adam and Ryan? What's the shelf life for these beers over here right now?
As long as they're aged properly in cellar temps, you could do a really long time, like 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I just had probably the oldest beer I ever saved. I did a Westie 12, and I aged it for 9 years. So, and that was all like cellar temps. But I like aging these beers. They can kind of turn after a while, but some of these big giant beers, as long as they're stored properly, you can save them 1, 2, 3 years, and it's kind of cool to see how they oxidize and kind of balance out. And certain profiles break down and become more intense or round out. So I like to save a lot of beer and try them over time for sure.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Ryan.
Ryan, I have a question for you. How often do you taste the beers during aging? And how did you decide when they are ready?
For the most part, the beer is ready when it's ready, but we do have a sales cycle that we're committed to, especially a brewery of our size. We have to kind of hit those numbers because I do like to get paid on time. So, but that's a lot of like what my job is, like planning for the future. We're already making stuff 2 years down the road right now. So that's kind of falls on me, but yeah, every barrel that comes through, I taste. So it's a lot of tasting for sure. We do
quality control.
Yep. Yeah, that's it. Quality control.
Right. You guys have basically the best jobs ever.
Ryan, we need to have these guys to KC and pull nails with them.
Yeah. You guys want to come up, and it's only 28 degrees right now.
Oh, that's
beautiful.
We can do it.
Don't worry. We'll call Bobby. We'll call Johnny. We'll call Steven. We call them and we'll hook us up. That's it.
That's it. You got it. You got the hookup.
With that weather, I can walk easily with this thing in my hand.
Forget about the cold. Give me bourbon beer.
Right? At what temperature do you keep your barrels?
55 degrees. So we have a temperature-controlled warehouse for the barrels. We actually designed this about 6 years ago with a lot of stuff in mind. Some people like a hotter warehouse. Some people like a colder warehouse. But we thought 55 Especially we can store that with a lot of our other packaged beer that needs that temperature, and it just really works out well for us. So I like a nice moderate temperature, so there's not too much evaporation for the wood. So
all the barrels are basically in one giant.
Yeah, one giant. Yeah, it's kind of intense when you walk in
like an underground thing, or is it super insulated? Or how do you?
No, it's just an insulated warehouse. There's fans and cooling systems. We used to age beer when I first started working at Boulevard about 6 years ago. We used to have a cave like 45 minutes from the city.
Wow.
There was a giant underground warehouse that you could buy rooms in. It was in a cave, and that's where we used to store our barrels in.
So lagering, you're lagering your.
There was actually. It was getting too cold in there one time. We put a heater in and then collapsed one of the roofs. Oof. So that's pretty interesting. But we learned our lesson and got a nice warehouse for these beers. So
I have one question, Ryan. Are these beers anytime will be available on kegs?
In kegs?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. And these ones not particular. We do keg beer a lot, but with COVID, it's definitely slowed down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't tell me about it.
but like Ryan mentioned earlier, the whiskey barrel stout, which is our imperial stout that we age in bourbon barrels, and the Belgian quad, those we have in the past racked. We put in kegs. It's a little bit tricky right now, but those occasionally they are beers that we will put into. We will keg, yeah.
Because at least we try to bring every one of your beers in kegs here. So
which one of your barrel age is your top seller right now?
I think the 6 glass, right, or the BBQ, Adam.
Yeah, it's either the quad or the barrel aged quad. Those are kind of lead the pack. I think that you're probably right, Ryan. Yeah,
that's a good question over there.
Yeah, 6 glass. I don't know if you guys have the 6 glass, but that's a quad that we've been making for a while. Yeah, and that's 6 glasses. That's, I mean,
core.
That beer. Yeah, it is bananas how good it is.
It's not on the bourbon barrel quad. It's both of them.
Wait, I'm sorry. What was the question?
The bourbon barrel quad. That's the.
So the base beer is similar to 6 glass, right, Ryan?
Yeah, so it's that base beer that's a little bit stronger, put in fresh bourbon barrels, and then after 6 to 8 months, we top it up with cherries.
Nice.
And it re-ferments on the cherries, and then we package after about 2 months. So,
someone is asking if the ABV increases during the barrel aging.
Yeah, it can go anywhere from 2%, and I think the highest I've seen is 6%. So it can get depending on the yeast strain, the beer can just kind of keep fermenting if there's a lot of sugar in the base beer. But some of the bigger stouts we do don't go as much because they don't attenuate as much because there's so much residual Plato in those beers. But yeah, we've seen them get as much as 5-6% alcohol on top of it. So when a beer is aging for 2 years. So and sometimes we'll double and triple barrel age beer and bourbon. So that helps too with the alcohol.
I would have never thought as much as 6%.
No, never.
Yeah, 6% is too high.
Yeah, it's a lot. So it's some of these strains just keep going, so they just don't stop.
So that's why I'm seeing this one has a 15% alcohol.
Wow. Show it bigger. Show it bigger. Give it a close up.
Another question.
You guys, what do you? Oh yeah,
only once.
Only one.
Only once.
So the barrels come to us used though.
Okay.
Yeah, so the barrels come to Ryan from distilleries that have used them. I mean, most bourbon barrels in just the U.S. they can only be used one time. They hold like corn liquor, which then becomes bourbon, and then they empty them and send the barrels to us. But we've gotten some other barrels, right, Ryan? Like we've gotten tequila barrels and rum barrels, and those tend to be used over again, and that's why the quality isn't as good.
They use some of them 2, 3, 4 times. So usually though the bourbons are just one time.
Bourbons are just one time, yeah.
I would have thought.
And really, the damn shame is that the bourbon barrels come to us empty.
Oh man,
you can probably squeeze out a couple of.
Right. We had
Devil's Share.
The Angel Share, the Devil's Cut. We had an employee party 5 years ago for the 25th anniversary, and one of our brewers had been collecting the little bits of like whiskey in the barrels, and had gotten some straight cut rye whiskey from Templeton and shared it with everybody on the bus as we were traveling around town. And I can't tell you how many people made it to the end of this pub crawl. I could tell you the number that started it. But the people that ended it was certainly a lesser number. But yeah, that whiskey was really good, straight from the barrel.
So,
what do you guys have currently? Like, is there something special in barrels right now that you're working on?
That's a good question, Ryan.
Yeah, we already started our. We're finishing our calendar for next year's releases. I think we got 2 new stouts coming out next year. We got a new brown ale that we fermented with maple syrup and finishing on hazelnuts. Rye on rye again. A couple other new interesting ones. So always a bunch of stouts. So
and the Bell's collab is going to go. Yeah, I know. We're not supposed to talk too much about it.
No, you can say it now. This is the
Okay.
#1 podcast on the island, so we can say it that you guys are making a collaboration with Bell. So,
Joey, will you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Will you tell everybody listening to like cover their ears, and I will tell you what's happening.
Do it.
Yeah, no. So we one of our favorite things to do is to make beer with our friends, which are other breweries. And so next year we have a handful of breweries that we're really excited to make some beer with, and Bell's is one of them that will be. Wow. I think is that the only one that's going to be barrel aged, Ryan? I think.
I think so.
Yeah. So that we've and I just tasted what was in the fermenter, the test batch. So I'm really excited to see it come to fruition. But yeah, look for that this summer. We're going to collaborate with one of our better friends in Michigan and Kalamazoo, Bell's. And as of right now, so we're looking at a rye barrel aged. Should I tell him, Ryan, or should I not? I don't know. What are the rules? Okay, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, John Terry is listening right now. Tell him.
Breaking news.
That's it.
Yeah. So I think Ryan would be able to talk about the beer a little bit more, but so we are working with a Norwegian yeast strain called Kvik, the Hornindal strain, and that presents a lot of tropical fruit notes and the end result in beer. So I should be letting Ryan talk about this, but I did try the base beer, the wheat wine. So if you've put together what I've talked about now, rye barrel aged wheat wine with Bell's, that's my tease. I can't tell you any more than that.
What else can you say, man? Come on.
Yeah.
So
beer.
We're doing a IPA collab with McKellar San Diego, and I was playing around with the Kvik yeast, and when we were talking about doing a
Ryan with whom?
With McKellar San Diego.
I know. Ariel,
Poncha, Mikel.
Ariel, ahorita. Hombre.
We have someone that has something. There you go.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
The sales sheet for the beer.
Chairman of the board.
He doesn't
We
set the price. Don't worry.
did the test batch last week, and we're getting ready to keg it on Friday, I think, and it tastes amazing. So
it's insane. It's unbelievable how good.
Damn, that's a 10.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you. No. I have to taste it. Then I believe you.
Prove it. Yeah.
I need the proof.
I'm messing around with that Kvik yeast, and they were also doing the same thing up in Michigan. And we used to do a beer a long time ago. It was called wheat wine. And we decided to do that beer again, a base beer similar to that, and use the Kvik yeast to kind of see what kind of fruity notes we could get out of it. So
at what temperature do you ferment this?
Say that again.
At what temperature?
Oh,
ferment
85.
one.
Yeah, 85.
85.
Wow.
It's the best year. It's the best year for homebrewers in Puerto Rico. It's the best year for for making beer in here. You know, you can
knock it down and let it go, and it's super clean, and fruity,
super clean. Yeah.
And if you like IPAs hazy, they stay hazy and citrusy. So we're gonna be using it a lot for sure.
Yeah.
It's a monster. That yeast is a monster. It's like a super fast.
That's a good question over there from Orlando.
Question here from Orlando.
No, we do not have any Puerto Rican rum barrels. We should get some though.
Does Orlando have some he can send to us?
Kike, we have to work with this and get them some rum barrels from Puerto Rican rums.
Of course.
We can maybe try to make something happen. We'll see.
We'll talk about that later.
For maybe a 5-gallon batch.
There's a good question.
Have you guys ever made bourbon or some liquor?
We have not. We don't. We just got a distilling license, but we don't have a still. We have sent like a wash, like a wheat beer high alcohol wash to a distillery, and they distilled that into a wheat whiskey. It's called Midnight Ritual. I don't know where that was sold though, Adam. Do you know? Or he's taking off, but we've worked with the distillery before, but we have not done it ourselves. So,
Ryan, I know we don't want to talk into details, but I know there's a big Puerto Rican collab with one of our industries here on the island that we don't want to say name yet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another big collab that I know we will get into the Puerto Rican craft beer movement, and it will get into our every bar. I know that for sure. So if you want to talk something without saying any details, I know.
No spoilers.
I got nervous and chugged my last bit of
it. So how about this? How about we say, I think probably in May, we need to get this group should get together again and talk about this collaboration that we have with. It sounds like someone that you know. But unfortunately, the details are in a spot right now where we can't really talk about it too much. But it is, I would say, it is happening. We are, we're to say that we're excited about this is just not doing it the right level. We could not be more geeked out about it. And in fact, if it hadn't been for, unfortunately, this year has been unpredictable and it's challenging to get around. Had the restrictions not be in place, Ryan and I would probably be in Puerto Rico right now, talking with these people and really kind of like smelling what they're providing, eating what they're providing,
and trying it,
and getting a nice buzz off of what they're providing.
The collaboration beer is gonna be brewed in here in Puerto Rico, right?
So it will be brewed here, but we're having the product sent from Puerto Rico to here, and then we're gonna brew it. We'll let it rest, and then we're going to have it. The request that we got was as soon as it is ready, we're meant to put it on a truck and a boat and sent to the wholesaler ASAP. So I'm gonna hitchhike on that boat, I think.
Let's get a deal right now. You guys have to come for that launch here. I promise these guys here with this podcast will be the ones that will be releasing the beer on that.
Yeah, well, I would say this. We'll let you break the news. How about that? When it comes time for us to
break news.
We're breaking news right now.
John O'Terry right now is going to hang me, but I'm telling you, we'll have you guys break the news when we have.
John on the comment.
He's on the comment. Yeah,
he should be
somewhere on.
Go and get Bobby Dykstra.
Oh, there he is. He says, "Tell him."
That was for something else. That tell him was for something else.
But we're. No, it's something that we've been talking about for about 6 months now, I think. And COVID has just been the only thing that's holding us up, really, in a lot of situations. But everyone here is really excited. I would say it's a beer that we have made before, that was wildly popular, and now we get to collaborate with someone from Puerto Rico to make it even better. So,
really nice.
That's amazing. Coming from a brewery like you guys with such great reputation and
that's awesome, man. Thank you.
Yeah,
that's something we can be proud of because good stuff.
Yeah, Boulevard is it's a very solid, consistent brewery.
Hey guys, what about this?
So no,
yeah, right. There you go.
No, before we continue,
what a break!
We have a timeout.
Timeout. Yeah.
Now I'm going to speak Spanish to our.
We're gonna do a little giveaway.
Ahora vamos a hacer un giveaway de parte de los amigos de Boulevard, pero este es un giveaway especial. Un giveaway porque nosotros somos especiales y nuestros televidentes, los que nos ven, también son especiales. Ya saben, mira, las reglas son mayor de 18 años, residente en Puerto Rico y tiene que pasar por la esquinita a buscarlo, pero va a tener que esperar un poquito porque no va a estar rápido, porque tenemos que saber cierta información del ganador o la ganadora antes de poder darle este obsequio. Kike, ¿algo más que quieras decir? ¿Algo más que quieras añadirle al giveaway? Porque Kike fue el que cuadró esto. Yo no cuadré nada. Yo no estoy diciendo nada.
I'm just gonna say the giveaway was put together about 30 minutes before the show with the gentleman over here in the comments.
Johnny
Coco Terry with the coconut.
So the giveaway is gonna be un Boulevard, es un gift pack. No sabemos qué hay en el pack, pero Boulevard va a enviar un gift pack con swag, con mercancía del brewery, etcétera. Quizás par de copitas.
Par de special beers.
Camisa, par de premiums.
Pues no sé si se enrede por ahí, enredado una botellita o otras, pero.
No sabemos, es sorpresa porque es Navidad.
Sabe que viene, pero pues el ganador que vamos a escoger ya mismo, pues.
Y otra cosa importante. No necesariamente el primero que conteste es el que lleva el premio. Es el que escoge el señor director. O sea que cualquier pelea, cualquier discrepancia, pelean con el señor director. No con nosotros, el señor director. Ariel Ferrer.
Es un Emmy.
Tirando del medio. Sí, Ariel es el que nos poncha, el que pone esto a correr. Sin Ariel esto sería amateurish.
Saludos, Maritza, te quiero.
We're going to have a question now, and whoever answers the question is going to get the giveaway. So,
yeah, I'm going to throw in another beer, too. You send me the address of the winner, and I'm going to send a very special beer that we just released this week. It's a holiday beer. Belgian Dark Strong Ale with dates and figs. It's insane. So you send me the address of the winner, I got you.
Man.
I will send you my address, don't worry.
We're going to make some changes.
Don't worry.
Señor director, poncha la pregunta ahí.
La que tú quieras, de las dos que... Bueno, ya te dijimos una, pero...
Sí, ahí está.
Ahí está.
First.
Era la otra, pero está bien.
Sí. Esa no era.
Boulevard.
Esta es lo importante porque...
Está más difícil.
Bueno, bien fácil. Pon las dos preguntas y el que la conteste la que sea.
No, pero pues... Ya es una que contesten esa vida. Si están pendientes, la pueden contestar.
We were talking about this earlier on the show.
Yeah, I think in the chat, Ariel already mentioned it.
Yep. Yeah. Just in case.
Señor director, ya puedes ir ponchando porque ya he visto la contestación.
Coge uno ahí.
Sergio Vélez es el ganador del giveaway especial.
Ahí está.
De Breaking News Beer and Coffee y Boulevard. Boulevard, claro que son ellos. Yeah. Boulevard es el ganador especial que lo llevó. Debe estar contento, se lo ganó. Que venga el confeti, que venga.
It's a shame we don't have that beer right now to taste.
Ryan O'Reilly is very nice.
We were lucky to get it.
Yeah, Ryan Rye will be out in the spring. So look at it. It'll be coming your way in the spring. Yeah.
Should we pop open the second?
Dale. Felicidades, Sergio. Congratulations to Sergio. ¡Aplauso!
Ya esta información por inbox Breaking news, beer and coffee.
So, mañana
Salud.
llego tarde al trabajo. Mañana llego tarde al trabajo. Salud.
That's okay. None of us are going to work tomorrow.
No, it's no. Oh man.
This is my favorite one. So.
This is an Imperial Stout aged in port, French oak, and rye whiskey casks. It's the second beer out of the
12
six-pack that you can go get right now at your favorite place.
Oh, such.
This one, like right out of the bat, I'm getting a lot more of the barrel, the wood.
Yeah, it's more wood forward. Yeah.
More fruity than the last one, right?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot more fruitier.
Yeah. He got those burnt sugar notes.
Exactly. Yeah, it's got a lot of like brown sugar.
You get the vanilla from the wood.
Awesome.
Yeah, so this is actually 3 different barrels, and the main component of the blend was is anyone familiar with High West whiskey or distillery out of Utah?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I've tried 1 or 2 beers barrel aged in that type of whiskey, but it's from what I've never tried the actual whiskey, but from what I've read, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so they do their whiskey that's finished in port barrels, and so I was lucky enough to get a bunch of those port barrels that had whiskey in them. So you get the fruit from the port wine, that oxidized, bright, figgy red wine mixed with the excellent whiskey that they distill, and that's where a lot of the flavor comes from this beer. So,
and this is more easy drinking than the porter. Doesn't have that mouthfeel. It's like more like a wine thing.
It's a thinner base because we wanted the French oak from the French oak casks, and also the wood that was in the port barrels to really show through, because it's a different type of mouthfeel. Vanilla you get from bourbon and rye barrels. So,
Ryan, what is the temperature that you recommend serving this beer?
I like it a little colder. I know sometimes people say 45 to 55 degrees. So I'm kind of a temperature, like I like stuff cold, but once it gets warmer, you really get a lot of notes to come out of
the natural
you have the
things.
So 55 is what I recommend, but that might be a little too warm for a lot of people, but it helps get a lot of those flavor compounds out.
No, we here in Puerto Rico, you know that 55 is not that achievable.
Yeah,
like a more 80, 70.
Let me remind you that right now it's like 85 degrees right now.
I don't want to hear it. It's like 28 degrees here. It's fine.
The beautiful thing about Puerto Rico weather is you can pour it at like 38, and by the time you're like,
it's already at 45.
I need to try that. I need to experiment. So I need to come and see if you're telling the truth.
Come here,
perfect.
I put this hat on because I just walked my dog and my hair was crazy.
You said it was 28, right now.
I don't need a hat. I don't need a hat in here.
It is freezing out right now.
Damn it.
Adam, to Puerto Rico.
I'm working on Oteri right now, so he's gonna do it. He's gonna bring us there.
I'll just go on my own dime, but
let's do it. Okay. Yeah.
If you guys had to pick one of your, and I know it's hard, it's like picking your favorite kid, but if you guys had to pick one of the barrel aged beers, like to say that's my favorite, that's like the one I would drink for the rest of my life, which one do you think would it be?
That's a tough question.
I can tell you, Ryan, the 30th anniversary that we did last year, that and then the Cabernet cask that we did a couple years ago, those two stand out the most to me. Those are the beers that I think for my taste personally, I thought they were the two of the best that we've done. You guys just knocked those out of the park.
I think mine too is I like those two, but my two favorite stout producers are Side Project and Weldworks Brewing Company, and we actually got to do a collab with both of them at the same time, and we released a beer called Let's Keep It Platonic, and we released that earlier this year, and that was my favorite.
That was solid.
I still have one bottle at the bar.
Me too. I'm down to one. So
that was an awesome beer. It looked like brownie batter. The soul was like.
¿Cuándo le damos para abajo, Kike?
Put together a date to try it. Yeah, for sure. I've got 2 more questions. I think you can probably answer, each one of you can answer it better. First of all, like, we're all home brewers. We love home brewing. So
that's what the question they were.
This one, I think Ryan can go for it.
Yeah.
If you had advice for a home brewer that wants to get like this type of barrel aged flavor in your beer, like, what advice would you give to a home brewer trying to get close to this?
Achieve.
Yeah. So I started homebrewing in college, and then I started homebrewing so much I was like, oh, I don't want to use my degree. I want to go into brewing. So I can definitely relate to that a lot. The easiest thing you can do is get some wood and soak it in bourbon and then throw that in your carboy. That's the easiest thing you can do. But I would soak that for at least a couple weeks, like in an enclosed jar. They do sell a lot of like small, like 5-gallon casks of oak and stuff like that, but I would definitely soak it in oak chips or oak cubes.
Yeah, I think that the 5-gallon is maintaining the oak is a pain in the ass. Yeah, he can have one.
The little barrel.
He have a little bottle, but
I don't have it anymore. I used to have it, and it freaking fell apart.
Yeah, you have to keep them hydrated and always filled, and it's a pain in the butt. But I would definitely go to like one of the homebrew shops, the bigger ones. They sell like oak cubes and staves, and I would definitely try to soak that for a couple weeks in your favorite bourbon, and then definitely age that on that oak for at least 2 to 3 weeks minimum. So
we homebrewers, we make those kind of crazy things. I made it like 4 times with white wine too. I put out chips and I put with white wine, and I put it like 3 weeks or maybe 2 weeks, and then I pour it into the beer. And it doesn't have the depth, the depth of the barrel, but you have kind of the flavor, it's like a mimic the same thing. But it's very nice. It's homebrew. It's like for sharing and for yourself in your house.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to get a lot of those flavors because when a beer is in an oak barrel, the oak is breathing in and out, so you're getting oxidation. It's
another thing.
In and out, so it's hard to mimic those flavors. Not having a barrel, but that's the easiest thing I'd recommend doing. So
it's the most safe one.
Yeah.
My second question.
There's a book by Peter Buchert. Do you know Peter Buchert? He was the brewer at New Belgium for a very long time. He set off and did his own project, but he has a book called Wood and Beer, a brewer's guide, and he really goes into depth about barrel aging and the wood and how it works with the beer. So I mean, I would say if you have any interest in that, you would look into that book. It's fantastic.
It would be nice. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.
He is super knowledgeable.
My second question, Adam mentioned it earlier. He spoke about Space Camper. It's one of the I think best-selling IPAs right now on the island in the can.
Very nice.
Joey can probably talk to us about this, but it's a really good IPA. We get it at a pretty decent rate. People have loved it. I heard something about the Space Camper family expanding.
Breaking news. Breaking news.
Yeah, this is breaking. Ryan, if you want to talk about Space Camper, and then I'm happy to talk about the universe, her universe expanding. It's very important we say her, Space Camper, her. She's getting 3 new friends next year.
Nice.
Yeah, actually 4 new friends, really, because I forget about the villain. So what does that mean?
Oh, it's like a new. Oh.
Yeah.
Breaking news.
So I'll tell you real quick the release sketch. So in the beginning of the year, Space Camper's getting a friend called GigaHop. GigaHop is what we're calling. It's a dual hemisphere IPA. So we really focus on a lot of hops from both the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. And GigaHop will take us into the summertime when Delta Ray is going to come on the scene. And Delta Ray is, we don't really like to use the word session too much, but it will be a lower ABV, but certainly like hazy. Think of like, not quite like a New England style, but juicy, hazy, low ABV. And then that's going to take us into the fall, which will be a West Coast style IPA. And we haven't revealed that person yet or that character yet. But then sometime during the summer, we do have a version of Space Camper that's like an Imperial IPA. So a bigger, higher ABV, more intense, and that beer is called Major Volta. And so Space Camper, we released it in 2019. So it's in its second year and it's only grown and gotten better. And we could not be more enthusiastic about it. But we did think that on the shelf that Space Camper was a little lonely and that she might need some friends next year. So we do have a rotating series of Space Camper IPAs that are variations on the theme that you'll see. So I don't know, Ryan, do you want to, because Ryan, you were part of the El Dorado IPA, right? The original recipe for Space Camper?
Yeah. So one of my favorite beers and Steven's favorite beers, our brewmaster, is Juicy Bits from WeldWorks. So it's like a 6.5% hazy IPA. And that's kind of what the inspiration of Space Camper was. We wanted this El Dorado Galaxy Citra IPA, that kind of like magic hop combo. It's called like, the money hops for a reason, but we did I think we did 7 or 8 trials just over and over and over, and finally settled on the right water profile and hop profile that we wanted with Space Camper. And yeah, it's what I drink probably the most of at work. So it's definitely
And
so we're getting a double IPA, we're getting a low ABV IPA, and we're getting a West Coast IPA, all in the Space Camper inspired. That's awesome. So a little bit for everything.
So you're creating a new universe.
That's exactly it. Yep. That's exactly it. Yeah.
And the graphic art is stuff.
Yeah.
I like those clean lines. And it's just,
right now, at the end of this month, we should be getting, first of all, Betty Noir, which was a very good beer that was what we sold here very fast. Good news that we're gonna get that beer here on year long. So awesome. And Kike, if you want to show the new one, the Flux, that you have it over there, and the people that you guys have it.
We're gonna get this in Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah, that's arriving by next couple of maybe the longest 2 weeks. Hopefully, I don't
know
if you guys can read who collaborated with Boulevard for this, but
Ariel has the sell sheet.
3 Floyds.
Yeah, Ariel has the sell sheet, so if he can put it out, it will help everyone too.
Se fue 17. Water break.
There it is.
Ahí está.
Quita el comentario.
Ahí.
3 Floyds.
That's awesome, man.
That's arriving.
Fantastic brewery. They're in Illinois, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Munster, Indiana.
Indiana, right? Indiana.
It's like an hour from Chicago. So.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're the creators of Zombie Dust, which is probably one of the most famous pale ales ever made. A bunch of years ago, but 3 Floyds knows their stuff, and they know their stuff with higher ABV beers. Let me Rico. So those are awesome. I think I heard about one more thing coming. I don't know if it's coming to Puerto Rico. I think it is. Jorge is in Texas right now, and he's about an hour and a half away from these people. Pint House Pizza.
Woo!
And I heard something about electric jellyfish
collaboration,
like an IPA, some kind of hazy IPA, and apparently it's coming to Puerto Rico. I don't know how, but
I don't know why it wouldn't come to Puerto Rico. Ryan,
yeah. Maybe.
Another breaking news.
Yeah, I think we can talk about it. I think it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, so that one's a fun one. It's just a hazy, hoppy IPA with vanilla, lactose, and man, we make so many beers I can't remember them all. I don't know. My mind is already on 2022 and 2023 right now. It's kind of sad, but that beer, we did the test batch 6-7 months ago, and it was tasting really good. It's interesting. It's a bit outside of our wheelhouse with all those adjuncts for an IPA, so we're super excited about it. And the artwork's pretty cool too, so we're happy about everything.
Yeah. Mira, Ariel, la tienes, te la envié, la tienes ahí.
Pizza sales sheet. Great. Hey, I wrote that copy. I'm really happy about it.
Ryan, can you talk about a little bit of the process behind the Imperial Cuvée?
Oh
yeah. That's
yeah.
Can you talk about how do you make it? How is the process?
Yeah, so that was I wanted to do like a really big blend of we overbrewed, especially with COVID, and we had a bunch of leftover stock, and I wanted to make something that, you know, that was just kind of out there and a lot of different flavor profiles. So we had 5 different that beer ended up being 5 different Imperial Stouts aged in 5 different types of barrels. 3 bourbon, 1 rye, and 1 Madeira wine barrel. And it was super fruity, super like heavy chocolate, cocoa, marshmallow, really thick tannins. And I don't know, it's pretty unique. I haven't tasted a lot of stouts like that, but I was pretty impressed with myself over it. So
it was solid. You should be.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cuvée is usually a term like used for like the highest quality or the highest right that a brewery can.
Yeah, we kind of view it as like our, you know, your best of your best. So we had I kept a bunch of small lots of a lot of my favorite stouts had coming out, and so I kept different portions of them, and that's what ended up being the blend of that beer. So stuff I was kind of savoring for. At the time, I didn't know what, but, you know, turned out to be that beer. So,
is this beer gonna make it to Puerto Rico, or?
I'm not sure.
John Terry, you're listening.
Joey saying yes. Yeah.
It's coming.
Sí.
Very limited. Very limited. Just in case.
Como dice aquí, limited.
Pero, Jorge, déjala para leerla abajo.
Yeah.
In bourbon rye and Madeira barrels. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's gonna be a
Boulevard number one.
For those that doesn't know, Madeira is a kind of wine.
Yeah,
in case.
So
because Madeira is wood.
Yep.
It's a sweet wine, right? It's like port.
Very, very similar.
Like a port.
Yeah.
It's like a port. Yeah.
Different. Yeah.
So
awesome. I think we're working on the pizza, the Pint House Pizza.
What happened?
What the? Ariel, go.
The directors are working on the pizza thing.
Yeah.
John says it's coming.
There he is.
Yep. The cask cuvee.
What other beers from are coming also, Joey?
Now, from Boulevard, man, Berry Nor, which hasn't arrived since last year.
Yep.
And let me double check right now.
So Berry Nor was a limited release. It was a seasonal sour beer.
Yeah, exactly.
It was sad, and then we decided that we needed to bring it back. I have to tell you, when you do get Berry Noir, anybody that's listening, when you get this beer, I think Berry Noir is like a lunchtime beer. It's a beer that you have at lunch with like a peanut butter sandwich. Seriously, pair it with a peanut butter, just a plain old white bread peanut butter sandwich, and it will elevate it. It will be the best PB&J. You don't no J. Just
only peanut butter.
PB
the J is in the can. So if you're drinking at work, and they're like, you'd be like, this is my lunch. This is the peanut butter and the bread, and the can is the jelly. It's a PB&J. You can't get in trouble for that, right?
Yeah.
World class pairing.
You can get.
Yeah, it worked. Yeah, man. It makes so sense. Yeah.
It really does. Yeah. It's just that easy.
That beer was really, really good. I like your guy. I like whoa. Oh boy.
What happened here?
Pint-sized Hawaiian Pizza Party Tiki IPA. That's a mouthful.
It's a mouthful. Hey, look at Jorge.
Tiki IPA. Pint-sized Hawaiian Pizza Party.
I'm seeing this for the first time, so I'm reading what the.
So I will tell you guys this, and this is a secret, and I shouldn't tell you, but it's really challenging sometimes when we have to put a label together with like a name. And as much as we wanted Pint House Pizza to be on the label or on the can, they're a brewery, but they sell beer. And so Texas makes it challenging with their laws for us to actually put Pint House's name on that beer because we brewed it here. So we had to get really clever with what we named it so that we could still give them the recognition and the accolades because they helped us with it. So we ended up with the longest beer name I think on record. I mean, it is a mouthful and the beer is a mouthful, but the name for sure is absolutely a mouthful too.
Yeah. Don't worry, Adam. You're not the only guy that having problems with doing stuff with your beers on your state. So we're not a state, but we have problems also with.
Yeah.
Sure.
Simple stuff.
Also available in Puerto Rico. Or...
The pizza, it's coming. Yeah,
it's coming. Yeah,
it's coming.
Ponchala otra vez.
It's coming. If we announce it here with breaking news, it's coming to the island.
Yeah.
So this is like breaking news.
Breaking news, man.
Tiki IPA.
Yeah, I'm very enthusiastic with all the new beers that Boulevard it's coming to the island next year. I know that 2021 regarding COVID is gonna boom with Boulevard beer here. So besides the collaborations we're gonna do, your portfolio is a solid one. Everybody on the island recognizes and admits and knows that all your beers are high end, and so it's just thanks for all the support you guys have done. Thanks for coming here. Hopefully you guys come to the island in the summer to release the new beer that we're gonna do. So really thanks Johnny, thanks Stevens, thanks Bobby Dykstra, everyone from Boulevard, man. It's a family, man. So it's
Gracias.
Thanks for all, man.
Yeah, muchos.
Can't wait to visit.
Yeah, we can't wait to visit.
You're practicing your Spanish,
We had a
Sergio. They don't know Sergio. Where's Sergio from? Is he Puerto Rico as well? Where is he from?
He won the giveaway, so he should be from Puerto Rico because
you're from Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
I got some extra beer coming to him. So,
I would get fired tomorrow. I think. It's like
also
Thank you. So
we need to have you guys to KC so that we can spend a day in the Barrel House with Ryan and pull some nails and try some really interesting flavors. So you guys,
Kike will do that.
Let's do that.
And then
we go there. We
see, Dorian, you're right.
Yeah, we film everything.
Boulevard has been on my bucket list for a while now. I've seen videos and stuff about your brewery. And obviously your beers are, super, like really impressive stuff. And it's always quality, It says Boulevard on the can or on the bottle. I'm going to try it.
That's really nice of you to say, man. That's really humbling. Ryan McNeve, that guy is super talented, and we wouldn't be where we are today without him. So,
he gets applause to Ryan.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll get everybody in the brewery clapping too.
Everybody, come on, get it together.
Thank you guys again so much for being here tonight. We hope you had a good time. We're more than we're blessed to have you guys on the show. You're super knowledgeable people. Thank you to Craft Beer PR.
Thank you for your time. I know that.
Thank you, Joey.
Thanks for everything there. The beers are absolutely amazing. It's like very nice stuff.
And we hope to see you in PR soon.
Any final comments? Any?
I'm coming for sure. I've been working on my beach body, so
Well, hey, how's the climate there? 20 degrees right now?
28 degrees. So I have beer by Boulevard. That's my body. Body by Boulevard. Yeah.
With the COVID thing, it's like nobody have the beach body. Nobody.
No.
Any final comment, Joey?
No, man. I really appreciate you guys hopping in with this podcast. It really means a lot. I know 2020 was a tough year for us and for everyone, but you guys really helped us a lot to get over it. And I know 2021 with you guys. Thanks for all the support you guys have done for us over here in the island of Puerto Rico. Thanks for breaking news guys here, Arturo, Jorge, Kike, ¿verdad? Esto es un tremendo show. I hope to make more shows with you guys.
Of course.
2021, it's craft beer on the island scene. We're gonna kill it. We've been doing some stuff during this past year during the pandemic, and if we have gotten through this, 2021 is gonna be.
This is the dark phase of the eclipse. And then 2021 is we go out of the shadows. We go to the bright side now.
Yeah, our compromise with our accounts and our customers here to get good beers and big quality beers to the island, and with Boulevard, Duvel, and it's only been quality beers so far, man. So just keep it rolling. Thanks for all the support you guys have done for us. So 2021 is the year.
That's it.
It's gonna mark the craft beer market in the island. I'm sure it's gonna happen.
Let's do it.
It's gonna hapen. So
cool.
Thank you, Adam, Ryan. Salud.
Adam, any last comment, Ryan?
Yeah.
Any last comment?
Arriba, abajo, yeah.
Arriba, abajo.
I think I've been to Puerto Rico before.
Hey, I don't know.
Yeah. Before we go, señor director, ponchame un segundo. Now I'm going to change to Spanish. So antes de irnos, queremos anunciar el próximo episodio, el próximo live, The Breaking News Beer and Coffee será el próximo martes. Pónchamelo, señor director, que se me olvidó la fecha. 22 de diciembre a las 8 de la noche. Le pusimos de nombre Rebobinación Cervecística. Tendremos a Raymond Pérez, Billy Norris, Ramón Quique Torres. Vamos a estar haciendo un recuento del año de nosotros en Breaking News, que todavía no llevamos un año, pero casi.
Wow.
El episodio sería el episodio número 50 de nosotros. Será el próximo 22 de diciembre a las 8 de la noche. Además de eso, además de hacer el recuento de nuestro año de Breaking News. Vamos a venir con una noticia que Puerto Rico va a temblar, pero vuelvo y repito, no de temblar de terremoto, va a temblar de otra manera, no lo vean, no lo cojan de mala manera.
No, por favor.
O sea, no queremos temblores, con eso empezamos el año pasado, no queremos eso.
Sí, no queremos eso.
Ya saben que
22.
Nuevamente el 22 a las 8. Vamos a verlos otra vez. Vamos para atrás otra vez, señor director. Pues será hasta la próxima. Ya se acabó todo por hoy. Será hasta la próxima aquí en Breaking News, Beer and Coffee. Salud. Y
salud.
Como decía mi abuela. ¡Ay!
Salud, gente. Thank you, guys.
Gracias, Joey. Gracias.
Don't go. We're
gonna take a screenshot after.
We have to go backstage.
We have to go backstage.